Hello, gorgeous souls. Welcome to this fabulous video where I'm going to be talking about the 2025 solar maximum. It is approaching us very quickly over the summer of 2025, June, July. The current solar cycle is expected to reach its peak. So, what exactly does this mean for us down here on Earth? I'm going to be breaking down a little bit about what solar flares are, solar storms, coronal mass ejections, how this affects us, and some tips and tools for how you can prepare to absorb all of these plasma energy upgrades from the sun. Welcome to my channel, the Starseed Sanctuary. I'm Dr. Heather, professional Starseed astrologer, Akashic Records reader, quantum alchemist, energy healer, and retired psychologist. I do all kinds of different things. I have a wide range of different information and knowledge, and I really just love space weather. So, welcome to this edition of Space Weather with Dr. Heather. Take a minute and hit that subscribe button. If you're new here, I'm so glad you're joining me. So, we're currently in a solar cycle that is reaching its solar maximum very quickly. In the next 2 months, it's going to reach a peak. We've been in this current solar cycle since 2019, and now we're reaching the point of no return here, reaching the pinnacle of energy here. And Earth has been receiving the impact of solar cycles, solar storms, solar flares, all of these different energies that come down into Earth's atmosphere, ionosphere, and geomagnetosphere for centuries. It's not new by any means, but what is occurring is the acceleration at which the atmospheric conditions are approaching our entire world. More importantly, this new and ever evolving vibrational frequency of energy throughout our bodies, our planet, and the collective. We are witnessing a mass awakening of people here on Earth. And it's a chaotic time because there's lots of healing, there's lots of detoxing happening, but it's also a very beautiful time to be here on Earth. So I'm going to break down a few of these different things that we can expect to see a lot more of in the next few months over the summer of 2025. And the first are solar flares. So solar flares are large explosions from the surface of the sun that emit intense bursts of electromagnetic radiation. So the intensity of the explosion determines the classification the flare belongs to. The most powerful are those X-class solar flares, followed by the M-class, at the C-class, and then the B-class. A-class flares are the smallest, and we tend to not even really hear about those. Those happen all the time. It's those X-class ones that we really notice. And these flares can be visible as bright flashes in a particular region of the sun. They can last from several minutes to several hours. Solar flares occur when this magnetic energy builds up in the solar atmosphere and is released suddenly. So they're an outburst that's intrinsically linked with the solar cycle, which is approximately an 11-year cycle of solar activity driven by the sun's magnetic field. So solar flares tend to originate from these different regions, different sunspots or solar regions of the sun. These are usually darker, cooler portions of the surface of the sun where magnetic fields are really strong. And solar activity, we know it's on the rise. We're moving into the solar maximum. We're moving into this peak. This is also interesting in 2025. This is an interesting time because if you remember, this was kind of rumored to be the time when that great solar flash was going to occur. So we will see if that's exactly what takes place according to different New Age lore. And if you want to stay up to date on space weather or solar weather, you definitely want to check out the spaceweatherlive.com app. You can download that to your phone or you can check their website. You can sign up for like their email list to get the updates. They record the most recent, I believe it's 24 hours of solar X-ray data from various different satellites. They have all kinds of cool graphics. You can get updates when there is a big solar flare or like a radio blackout or different things like that related to space weather, the solar weather. Then after solar flares, we have coronal mass ejections. Okay, so coronal mass ejections, or CMEs, are these large expulsions of plasma from the sun and the magnetic field from the sun's atmosphere, like a corona, right? Kind of like an aura. So compared to solar flares, these bursts of electromagnetic radiation that travel at the speed of light reach Earth in just over 8 minutes. So it's much more intense, a solar flare compared to a coronal mass ejection. They're a little more leisurely. Okay. And their speeds are like, I think it's like 1900 to 2200 miles per second. So they're relatively slower travel, gives us a little more time to prepare for their arrival versus the solar flare, which is more quick. So CMEs can sometimes wreak havoc on the power grids, communication networks, orbits, satellite data networks, and things like that. That's where you might see like a radio blackout or like the internet's wonky that day or whatever. So coronal mass ejections form similarly to solar flares. Magnetic field lines tangle and they produce this kind of like localized magnetic field energy, which can break through the surface of the sun and then into our atmosphere and magnetosphere here on Earth. Then we have the beautiful geomagnetic storms. If you were able to see some of these that happened last year in 2024, when you could see the aurora, the northern lights, from much lower latitudes than normal, that's associated with these geomagnetic storms, which is like a disturbance in Earth's magnetosphere when there's a really big exchange of energy and solar wind. So can create this beautiful, right, aurora borealis that we know so well. Really beautiful if you're in lower latitudes to be able to get to see that, which is another wonderful benefit of tracking the space weather. So you can know when the KP meter is really high, that can indicate that you might be able to see auroras or northern lights from where you're located here on Earth. So, what are the effects of all of this on us as humans, though, right? We know that just sitting out in the sun for long periods of time can change the color of your skin. Like you can get tan, you can get a little more melanated. It almost feels like, in some ways, I don't know if anyone else has thought of this, that we live a little too close to our home star, the sun. The sun is a star because we can get burned out in the sun. You can get like heat stroke from the sun if you're out there too long. The sun also is a giver of life. The sun is also a portal to other dimensions. So there's huge physical and emotional effects of increased solar activity on us as humans during this peak solar maximum of the current solar cycle we're going to be moving into. And there's a whole area of research called heliobiology that a lot of researchers study these geomagnetic storms, the coronal mass ejections, the solar flares, and they have shown that they do have a profound effect on us emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically as well. A lot of their research has shown that it does increase anxiety, depression, fatigue, and nervousness, and sometimes even peaks in bipolar disorder can coincide with solar activity. You do see this, the more light there is, the more solar activity, there can sometimes be more mania as well. So there can definitely be, and many of you I know have experienced this when we've had intense solar flares and solar storms, this heightened intensity and energy that surrounds us, right? With frequent, sometimes, and sudden changes that come up, both physically and spiritually or energetically as well. You could also experience sometimes less physical or non-physical symptoms like vivid dreams, synchronicities, disruption in sleep patterns, epiphanies, spontaneous healing. There's so many different things that can come through for different people depending on your level of consciousness, how you're choosing to work with these energies, what you're needing to heal, what stage you are at along your spiritual journey. So it really does vary quite a bit for different people. But I think these fluctuations in energy and emotions are really a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things and the transformative potential of the universe. So by remaining more present and more aware, we can learn to navigate these huge energy shifts that are upon us with a little bit more ease, a little bit more grace, and emerge even stronger and wiser after these. And when we really begin to prioritize our personal growth, our spiritual evolution, we can also recognize sometimes there are harmful and toxic effects of nature, of our relationships, of people, places, and things that drain our energy. And we're really, I think, as a collective, beginning to break free from these old patterns, these old ways of doing things, these old behaviors during Earth's ascension process, during our spiritual journey. And we might find that certain people, places, and things are just no longer in alignment with us. And that's okay. They're not in alignment with this new frequency, with a new dimensional level that you're moving into. And there can sometimes be a painful letting go or letting things fall away or grieving, even too. We know that before you make a quantum leap, oftentimes before you're really just about to level up in some major way, achieve some success, break through to the other side of a block or a barrier, there is a mini death that occurs symbolically or metaphysically. And so if you're experiencing that, grieving something or really like a loss of some kind on any level, just know that that's normal, and moving through that, allowing yourself to feel that, validate your feelings, but also finding ways to keep the energy moving really helps you to achieve that next level you're moving into. And I do know how challenging navigating these times can be. So, really, just want to remind all of you guys that you're not alone. We're all going through this together, and we're often experiencing really similar changes. So, it's good to talk about this stuff, connect with other people. I definitely would love to hear from you guys in the comments. How have some of these solar flares, coronal mass ejections, geomagnetic storms been affecting you over the years? What are you looking forward to in the solar maximum? What are you worried about in the solar maximum? Definitely share your thoughts and questions in the comments. We're definitely undergoing a very significant period of shifts, energy shifts, changes. And I think it's just really beautiful that we can stay connected to other people that are in that similar frequency to ours. It helps us not feel so lonely, right? Yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. Definitely, I think there's going to be a lot of the things that I've been seeing, sensing, receiving as downloads is that we're going to be experiencing another huge wave of awakening, is kind of how I'm phrasing it. Some of us have been on this journey for some time already. Some people are just starting this journey. Everyone is on a spiritual journey from the day they're born, really. So it's not really about, in my opinion, oh, I've been doing this for so many years and you haven't. It's not about that, right? Like we're all on the same journey at different stages, and not one of us is better or worse than another. Some of us are dealing with maybe harder things than other people. And I just want to honor that, that we are all going through a similar process. If you feel like, wow, no one could relate to this, no one's been through this, someone probably has been through that. And so sometimes just sharing your story, sharing your experience can be so validating, can be such a wonderful way to get a little support, to remember, like, you're not going crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. This is a normal part of the process, even when it gets really difficult. And just also want to give you guys a little bit of an overview. These are some of the most common I don't like calling them symptoms because that makes it like medicalizes it. So these are some of the most common experiences that people notice during solar storms. Okay. Vivid and realistic dreams, sometimes nightmares. Super important to clear, shield, and protect your energy during these times. Intense emotions come up a lot. Sometimes you're feeling just a little more off, wonky, irritable. Sometimes mood swings happen, but sometimes it's just like a little fuzzy or foggy. Heightened intuition, heightened sensitivity. Sometimes like psychic activations really come down through, psychic downloads, powerful insights, epiphanies, breakthroughs. Sometimes we can feel disconnected or out of sync though, like just wonky and off. I know I like to track the space weather app because when I know big solar flares and solar storms are coming, I'm like replacing electrolytes. I am taking that salt bath. I am drinking way more water. I am resting. I'm not overworking because I know like it can really like disrupt your energy field. Some other experiences that people commonly experience during these huge solar peaks are increased creativity and inspiration. Yeah, sometimes unusual heightened spiritual experiences. I don't necessarily want to call them paranormal, but most people would call them paranormal experiences, although they're more normal than people realize. Yes, enhanced psychic abilities, increased connectivity, feeling like that unity consciousness is more abundant and easier to tap into, feeling more connected to nature, feeling more connected to the universe, signs, synchronicities, deja vu, meaningful occurrences occur, a sense of purpose or clarity about your mission or your life direction, feeling more compassionate towards others. Yeah, sudden insights, clarity, a deep sense of gratitude or appreciation for life. A really common one I know a lot of people, including myself, have experienced is difficulty sleeping because it's such like a huge influx of energy. It's hard to like ground down and relax a little bit sometimes. So making sure that you have some good tools for grounding, relaxation, an Epsom salt bath. Maybe you're taking some magnesium or some other natural holistic remedy at night to relax enough to get a good night's rest. Sometimes there are changes in appetite or food cravings, unexplained physical pain or discomfort. That's usually due to a purging or a healing of stuck or stagnant energies in the body. Sometimes there's memory lapses, difficulty concentrating, trouble staying focused. It's just you're dealing with such a huge influx of energy from the sun that it can dysregulate sometimes our frontal lobe or even our nervous system. Again, grounding, rest, hydration, super important. Ringing in the ears or tinnitus is a really common one. I think, again, that's a experience that has been over medicalized. That's often a sign that your clairaudience is coming online or is activating, although initially at first it just feels unpleasant or can just feel like ringing in the ears that we're not actually getting a clear message. It usually dissipates over time with mindfulness meditation and journaling, I think, too, to help describe the sensation or what's coming through for you, because it's not always like a clear linear message, right? Craving solitude is another experience a lot of people have with this solar peak in energy, needing a little more alone time to rest, wanting to be really mindful too of who you're giving your energy to, who you're interacting with, so you're not overdoing it, so you're not around those energy vampires or people that are too draining, as much as you can prevent that. Time warps are a very common experience that I've had a lot of. I would just say in general every day of my life, but especially when there's big solar peak activity. So feeling like time is slowing down or speeding up, feeling like there's some type of time warp or what I like to call a time storm. It's almost like there's a time storm where it's like I don't even feel like time is moving anywhere. Time is I'm gonna make a whole entire video on time. Time is such a wild phenomenon. And I do go pretty deep into timeline alchemy and the quantum alchemy course if that's something you want to learn more about. Sign synchronicities we covered. Yeah, waking up a lot during that witching hour between 2 to 4 a.m. when they say the veil is thin. Well, the veil, there's no veil. There's no veil. The veil is just a metaphor to describe when our psychic senses are aware of other things that are in the unseen realms or not. But very common to be waking up during that time of day or early morning time. Knowing things, claircognizant, knowing things without knowing why. I just know all of a sudden. I just know I'm supposed to create this offer, or I just know I need to call so and so, or I just know tomorrow X, Y, and Z is going to happen, right? That's a claircognizant activation. Sometimes we also can get visions, premonitions, ability to predict future events, knowing instantly where there's great unrest or where there might be some type of cataclysm or chaos on the world stage, we'll call it. So really, really super important here. I want to note that not everyone experiences these things the same during solar storms, and others may experience them to varying degrees, depending on what's going on in your life, depending on what you're needing at the time, depending on as well as your location on Earth, right? How close you are to that particular sunspot that's giving us a lot of energy. Um, so really crucial to prioritize self-care during these times. Ensure that we're in balance with ourselves and our bodies and the environment. And so some upgrades, integration, and self-care activities as we're moving into this peak solar maximum over the summer of 2025. It's going to be wild. I love taking pictures of the sun. That's like one of my main self-care activities, you guys. I've been taking so many pictures of the sun during the Pleiadian alignment, during the Andromedan alignments. I like want to make a little I just love the sun so much. I'm just a child of the sun. Like I don't even care about the moon that much. As an astrologer, we talk about the moon, but I'm like, I love the sun. I just love the sun. So when there is a solar flare or a solar storm, I highly encourage you to go take a picture of the sun, because you will see the sun looks different days. There's different light codes that reflect off of the sun. It's pretty wild. The sun looks wildly different on different galactic alignments too. It's like, whoa, it's like amazing. But this rainbow plasma light holds all the frequencies of the energy in the color spectrum, the rainbow rays, the connection these rays have to our galactic ancestors. It's really beautiful. And so as we embody and we develop a little bit more on our healing and awakening journey, the ability to hold this rainbow plasma light as we continue to ascend and heal and awaken, we embody higher states of consciousness. We become more aware of our multidimensional selves and are able to embody this multidimensionality beyond the linear constructs of time and space. We birth our true authentic selves in this physical reality, and we're really supporting Earth's healing and ascension process as well. So it's amazing. So here's the main tips for self-care, for taking extra good care of yourself during solar storms, major energy upgrades, and especially the solar maximum over the summer 2025. Rest. Okay. Rest. It seems so simple. It sounds so simple, you guys, but I know how hard it is. Rest is a spiritual practice. So rest, relax, recharge, learn how to do that. If you have a hard time doing that, this is your invitation to learn how to relax, be a self-care warrior, learn how to relax more, learn how to let go more. Okay. Take a long nap or a short nap. Okay. Or even a power nap. I love a power nap, you guys, because I'm not a good napper. I'm just not. Once I'm up, I'm up. But if I'm starting to get like a migraine or I'm feeling kind of achy or wonky, it's one of those type of solar flare days or just days in general, I'll go do a 10 to 15-minute power nap. I lay down, I get comfy, I close my eyes. I do not sleep. I don't actually go to sleep, but it lets your body and your nervous system rest a little bit. You can get like less light that way. So power nap it up if a regular nap is not your thing. Take a cleansing salt bath. I love Dr. Teal's. There's many different scents, Epsom salt baths, but you could just do a regular good old kosher salt. Wonderful to take a cleansing salt bath. If you don't want to dip your full body in, or you don't have the ability to dip your full body in, maybe you don't have a bathtub in your home. I know a lot of folks, in big cities don't have like a bathtub. Get a little foot bathtub and just do your feet. It works wonders. It's amazing. Earthing. And a side note here with earthing, creating your own modalities of grounding, because not everyone grounds in the same way. But putting your bare feet on earth, dirt, or grass, wiggling your toes, connecting to the grids of the earth, the crystal core of the earth, going and smelling the roses, hugging a tree. Hugging a tree is a great way to get grounded. Trees are our friends. Hydrate. Water, particularly nice, clean spring water or electrolyte water. Some people love that Kangen water, the high pH water, whatever type of water is your choice, the cleaner, the better, right? Minimize contact with triggering people, places, and things. Super important during the solar maximum. meditate a little bit or do simple breath work like the 4-7-8 technique, or yogic breathing. Pranic breathing is really helpful for calming. I generally don't recommend the fire breath or like holotropic breath work too much during the solar cycle because the energy is already so up here. More of the calming, slowing down breathing, long, deep breathing. Journal about your experience. We're living through transformative times, unprecedented times on Earth. So, journal if you feel called to do that, or make some art, some type of creative outlet. Really important to minimize or avoid completely alcohol, drugs. That includes plant medicines or other mind altering drugs. The sun is going to alter your mind enough. You probably can take a break from that stuff or be more in the harm reduction mindset, minimal, micro, right? Choose alkaline foods. That's going to be really helpful as well. Be kind to yourself. Spend time alone connecting to your energy. Allow yourself to cry and grieve. Crying is such a cathartic release. There's nothing wrong with that. As lower timelines fall away, as we start to really clear shadow timelines, we're able to access more flow, more synchronicities, and miracles. Miracles. So it's also very normal to grieve before that quantum leap, as I mentioned. You're letting go of the old, you're learning to embrace the new. That's not always an easy process. So allow yourself to grieve if necessary. If you do spend time with others, make sure there are people you feel safe with. That means physically safe, mentally, psychologically safe, emotionally safe, and especially energetically safe. You do not, they don't check all those boxes. Maybe don't hang out with them, especially during the solar maximum. Connect with trusted sources with questions. You can always ask me questions here on YouTube. You can DM me on Instagram. You can email me. If you want to join my Stargate membership, my monthly membership, now's the time to do it while enrollment is still open through early June. It's a beautiful community we're building of fellow spiritual warriors. And so I highly encourage you guys to check that out. I'll link it. I think the link will be up here or up here, wherever the link ends up popping up. Utilize the wonderful library of tools, meditations, information I have here on YouTube, as well as my Instagram platform and my blogs on my website. Those will all be linked as well. And I'm just really excited to hear more about people's experiences with solar flares, solar storms. And yeah, please let me know if you guys have any questions below. I'm looking forward to this solar maximum, even though it does seem to be a bit of an intense journey, right? But we also have some beautiful astrology over the summer to uplift and connect us too. So stay tuned for that. And thank you guys so much for joining me. Sending you guys galaxies of love and gratitude. And please feel free to share this. All right. Thank you guys.